Yeah. So, as I said, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, so first of all, we need to understand that there is a flow in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And the flow is very simple, that in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga. Correct? So when Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga, this 4th chapter, which is titled as Transcendental Knowledge, which we all read, we need to connect it, right, to Karma Yoga. Suddenly, while talking to Karma Yoga, how can Krishna talk about, something that's not connected to Karma Yoga, correct? Because that is the flow, right? So from 3rd chapter, we already saw he's talking about Karma Yoga, and this theme is going to continue 3rd, 4th, 5th, and so on. So then, what is the 4th chapter about? So this 4th chapter has been very nicely described by Yamunacharya and Ramanacharya both as aspects of Karma Yoga only. Okay. So what Krishna is going to do in the 4th chapter, the second part is Karmano Karma Tasyacha. He is going to teach us how Karma Yoga only is to be seen as akarma. That means how karma, now this word akarma, which repeatedly comes in 4th chapter, we all, those of us who are familiar with Srila Prabhupada's translation, we know that Prabhupada translates akarma as inaction. Correct? But Ramanacharya and Yamunacharya, they talk about akarma in the context of 4th chapter as Jnana Yoga. So why do they do that? They do that because, so there is Karma Yoga and there is something which is not Karma Yoga. And what is not Karma Yoga in the whole context of the discussion going on in the 4th chapter, in the first few chapters of Bhagavad Gita? Jnana Yoga only, right? Because in the 3rd chapter itself, Arjuna had asked this question. If Jnana Yoga is superior, then why are you engaging me in this ghastly warfare? Okay, in the name of Karma Yoga and all that. So I hope everybody is understanding this link, correct? So that is why they translate the word akarma, which comes in the 4th chapter of Gita, as Jnana Yoga. Okay. So karmano akarma tasya cha means how to see Karma Yoga only as Jnana Yoga. So now what Krishna is doing in the 4th chapter, what you will see now is Krishna is evolving the concept of Karma Yoga. In the 3rd chapter, he spoke about Karma Yoga normally. Now what he's going to do is he is going to say how Karma Yoga only you can see as Jnana Yoga. My dear Arjuna, you don't have to separately do any Jnana Yoga. This Karma Yoga only should be seen like that. So this is the focus of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and this is what we are going to discuss in the remaining part of the 4th chapter, because that's what Krishna is actually talking about, right? So the second section of the 4th chapter is about this, how to see Karma Yoga only as Jnana Yoga. And the 3rd part of the 4th chapter is different types of Karma Yoga. Okay, so Karma Yoga only has different types, and Krishna is going to talk about that. Okay, so for that, Ramanacharya uses the word Vikarma. So all of you know, right, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the word Vikarma comes. Karma, Vikarma, Akarma. Correct? All of us know that. So one way of looking at Vikarma, see, that's the beauty of Sanskrit language. It could be seen in so many ways. One way of looking at Vikarma, the way Prabhupada has defined it, is forbidden activities, right? Because Vikarma means forbidden activity. That's certainly a way of looking at it. But the way these people describe Vikarma is Vividha Karma. Vividha Karma is also Vikarma. Vividha Karma means different types of Karma Yoga. Okay, so that is how they define the word Vikarma. And you will see that in the 4th chapter, Krishna is talking about different types of Karma Yoga, and we will be looking at all that. That is the 3rd section of Bhagavad Gita. And the 4th section of Bhagavad Gita is, of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is Jnanasya Mahatmyam. Jnanasya Mahatmyam is in the glory of Jnana. Now one may say, Arey, how come pura Karma Yoga ke baare mein baat kar rahe ho? Suddenly, why is Krishna glorifying Jnana? So the answer is, Krishna is not glorifying that pure Jnana Yoga, which the Upanishads talk about. Rather, what Krishna is doing in the 4th chapter, he is glorifying the Jnana, which is part of the Karma Yoga. Correct? Like now we are going to see how Karma Yoga only is to be seen as Jnana Yoga. So that Jnana, which is an intrinsic part of Karma Yoga only, uska Mahatmya, the greatness of that is being discussed in the 4th part of this particular chapter. Right? So this is how we are going to look at this whole thing. Okay. So now I hope this whole verse of Yamunacharya, which we have been looking at, makes sense. So please look at that verse once again before we jump into our discussion today. Prasangat swasvabhavoktihi karmano akarmatasya cha veda jnanasya mahatmyam chaturdha dhyaya uchyate. So first he is talking about his own appearance. That is the first theme. Second theme is karmano akarmatasya cha, looking at karma yoga only as jnana yoga. Third is veda. Veda means what? Vividha. The different types of karma yoga which Krishna will talk and which we will see very soon. And the fourth type is jnanasya mahatmyam. This jnanasya mahatmyam doesn't mean the greatness of jnana yoga. Why will Krishna do that? After encouraging Arjuna to do karma yoga. So this is the jnana of which is part of the karma yoga. Jo uska hi part hai. That particular jnana. So that is what he's saying. Okay, good. So now what we are going to do today is we are going to look at the second section of the fourth chapter. So that begins with the 12th verse. Okay, so the second section itself, it runs for almost 12 verses from 4.12 to 4.24, 13 verses. So these 13 verses form the second section of the fourth chapter, where Krishna is going to teach us how to see karma yoga only as jnana yoga, and so that we need not try to separately run behind one jnana yoga. So in that, there is a prelude to it. So it is just like this, suppose you go to a, so this is again example of Ramanujacharya only. So he says that suppose you go to a shop to buy a diamond. Though when the shopkeeper, when that jeweler, when he takes the diamond out and he wants to show it to you, he will not just put it on some ordinary floor and show it, right? He will keep a nice velvet or some very decorated piece of cloth, or like all of you have seen, right? So for gold and diamond ornaments, they have a very nice box in which they keep these things. It's not that they will just, keep it in some plastic box, which doesn't look very attractive or something, because that particular gold or diamond is itself so expensive that you need to keep it on something very nice, right? And only then it is shown. So similarly, he says, before going into the talk of how karma yoga is to be seen as jnana yoga, Krishna is going to speak 6 verses from 4.12 to 4.18, setting some background. Okay, so what is the background Krishna is setting? So in that also there are 2 parts. In the first part from 4.12 to 4.15, Krishna is talking about adhikari for karma yoga. Okay, adhikari, that means who is not an adhikari and who is the adhikari. Adhikari means who is eligible. Okay, and then he is from 16 to 18, he talks about the glories of karma yoga. After speaking all this, he says how to see karma yoga as jnana yoga. So this is how this entire second section has been described. So the first verse, 4.12, where now what Krishna is doing in 4.12 is he is going to say who cannot do karma yoga, who is not eligible only for it. So that is 4.12. Let's see the verse. Kankshata karmana siddhim yajanta iha devataha kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmacha. Okay, so those of us who have read Gita well, we understand this verse. Krishna is talking about Kankshata karmana siddhim. Siddhim here means those, siddhi doesn't mean here some yogic siddhi or something. It means fruits of karma. Matlab, jo fruits hai na, matlab whatever fruits of any action. Kankshata, those who aspire for it, Kshipram himanushe loke, but who want it very quickly. Okay, who want fruits very quickly. These people, what they do, they worship various devatas. Okay, and because they don't have the, so Krishna is basically saying that these type of people are not eligible for karma yoga. Why they are not eligible for karma yoga? Because they are not aspiring for moksha at all, right? So they are not, because Gita is a moksha shastra ultimately, right? I mean, when you are on the path of yoga, you are on the path of moksha. Whether it is going to Vaikuntha, Goloka, or even impersonal Brahman, that is moksha. But those who are not aspiring for moksha, they are attracted to immediate fruits. They don't know what is, to work, nishphala, nishkama and all that. So such people, what they do, iha devata, Krishna is saying in this verse. Iha devata means the devatas who are here. Here means what? Who are in this material world. So basically, Krishna says that such people don't want to worship the Supreme Lord. Okay, they don't want to worship Paramatma. They are not interested. What is their problem? They want fruits very quickly. Hence, they worship. So why is Krishna saying this here? Krishna is saying this here because to say that karma yogis don't do like this. Okay, so Krishna is contrasting between those who can come to the platform of Karma Yoga and those who cannot, by saying that those who are, want shortcuts and who want quick fruits, they will only keep worshipping various devatas in this world, and they will keep running behind fruits, and that's about it, right? Such people, so the implied understanding over here in this context is, such people cannot do Karma Yoga. Now the question is how to come out of this mentality, how to come out of this mentality of, running behind quick fruits. So for that, the answer to that is, now, so please appreciate the logic of the Gita as we are talking. The answer to that is, in order to become free from this mentality, one needs to be fixed in his own duties as per Varnashram. Okay. And even if the fruits come late or whatever, still one persists with that. So that is the characteristic of somebody who is situated in Varnashrama Dharma, right? That they are not, so just because, I am a, right? See, of course, nowadays we may find it a little difficult to appreciate this in the modern world because everyone is one sense behind fruit. So they keep changing their action very quickly. But in a more traditional Varnashram situated system, a person who is a Shudra, for example, he's not competing with a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or anything just because he wants to get quick fruits. He's happy in that. So for that reason, Krishna is talking about Varnashram in the next verse by saying, Chatur Varne Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Apyayam. Krishna is saying that these four Varnas are created by me. Okay, so why is he talking about Varnashram immediately after talking about Devata worship? In order to say that to become free from this tendency of wanting quick fruits, one has to be situated in Varnashram. So that's the link. Okay, don't run behind shortcuts. Stick to your duty. Even if slowly you get things, that's not the most important point here. The important point is one should be situated in one Swadharma. So that is why this is coming here. Okay, Chaturvarna Maya Srishtam, he's saying that I have created it. Okay, and then he's saying that, but I have not created it, as in I have not forced a person into it. It is based on guna and karma of a person. Okay, based on everybody's guna and karma, everyone falls into one of these categories. Guna means we know quality and action. Okay, guna also means here three modes of nature, right? Tasya kartaram apimam. Though I have created the system, vidya kartaram abhyam. Still, I am not the karta. I am not the doer. So it looks little bit, why is Krishna saying he has created, but he is not the doer? So two ways we can understand this. First way we can simply understand is that Krishna has created the system, but everyone falls into one of these four broad categories based on his own guna and karma. So Krishna is not responsible for it, right? So Krishna has created the system of varnas, but people enter these by their own action and quality. So how can we blame Krishna for somebody being something? So that is why he is not karta. That's one way. Second way, interestingly, he says here is that Krishna has created four varnas, but each of these varnas, there are so many divisions in that also. Like if you see Brahmanas, there are so many different types of Brahmanas. Usme bhi bahut sare category hai, like Kshatriya, right? Like Kshatriyas also, there are so many divisions among them. Vaishyas, among Shudras. These are not, if you see the Jati system in India, there are so many Jatis, right? And many Jatis fall under one Varna. Like in Vaishya Varna, only so many Jatis fall under. So basically, Ramanujacharya here says that Krishna created four Varna, but human beings have created thousand varieties in each of them, and thus eventually created 4,000 varieties of Jatis under these Varnas. So how can Krishna be responsible for that? So this verse is also in a way talking about the diversity of this world. So if you remember, some years ago, we would speak about some basic principles of Bhagavad Gita. One was duality and the other was diversity. And in this verse, we can see that diversity, that there are so many jatis in this world because, people are different. So they have created so many, differences, subtle differences among each of that. So Varna is very broad, but in that, there are so many things that fit under. But anyway, so Krishna is making this particular statement here to tell us that don't be behind shortcuts, be situated in Varnashram and wait for whatever fruit you get patiently. And then Krishna gives a benediction in 4.14. What does he say? Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo vijanati karma bir na sabhadyate. So Krishna is saying that I am not the cause of diversity of this world. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha iti mam yo vijanati. Krishna is giving a benediction. One who understands this, karma bir na sabhadyate. He is not bound by karma. Okay, so why? So basically he is saying that someone who understands. So why is this benediction given? Two things. First thing Krishna is saying here is Namam Karmani Limpanti. Nothing binds me. No work binds me. So for that, Ramanujacharya gives an example, like a farmer puts water in an entire piece of land, but in one place rice comes up, another place coconut tree comes up, another place mango tree comes up. Is the farmer the cause? In a way, yes, because he only poured water. But in a way, no also, because there were different seeds in different places. So one seed became coconut tree, one seed became mango tree, and so on. So similarly, so he says that in this way, there is a Vishesha Karana. Vishesha Karana means the Lord is Nimitta Karana, because he is laying the foundation of everything, the universe, the Varna structure. Nimitta Karana he is. But the Vishesha Karana of something becoming coconut, something becoming mango, that is individual only. Individual seed alag alag hai, isliye alag alag ban gaye. So similarly he says, so nothing binds him, so the farmer is not responsible for that, because seeds were different things came up. Namam karmani limpanti, nothing binds him. And second thing, most importantly, is saying name karma phale spriha. I am not desiring any fruits or results, so that is why nothing touches me. So I'm not responsible, because I'm not desiring anything from this. Okay. And Krishna is saying, if someone understands this, itimam yogina vijanati karma per nasa bhatyate. So many times we read these verses in the Shastras, not only in this place in Bhagavad Gita, and so many other places in the Gita, Bhagavad as well, where some benediction is given. Someone who understands this becomes freed and all that. So what does that mean? So he says here that just like, if you remember in the previous talk, when we were discussing Janma Karma Chame Divyam, we had made the point, right? Evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma neiti mamiti sorjuna. So there Krishna is saying, if somebody understands me and my activities in truth, then he will not come back to this world. So then somebody may say that, so if you remember, we discussed this point last time, right? Someone may say, just if I understood that I am freed, then no need to practice bhakti only. Just if I understand Krishna's appearance in this world and everything, then I am freed. Then, so it apparently is as if, right? As if bhakti only need not be done. So what he says here, no, it's not like that. Bhakti has to be done only, but this is some extra benefit given. So it's like normally in bhakti, if a normal bhakta is there who doesn't do this, he takes X number of lifetimes. By knowing this, immediately in this life itself, one goes back to Krishna. Okay, and there Ramanujan, in fact, one more point he says in that Janma Karma verse. Last time I didn't say that. I will make that point here. In that verse, Krishna is saying, right, Evam yoveti tattvataha. Tattvataha means you have to understand my pastimes in truth. So for that, he gives an example. He says, just like, we all know that in Vrindavan, Krishna would steal butter, right? He would break the pot and he would steal butter and he would eat the butter. So one is understanding Krishna's karma. That means Krishna would break pot, Krishna would remove the butter, and Krishna would eat the butter. So this is just understanding the Leela part. Tattvataha means is to understand the deeper meaning behind it. What is the deeper meaning behind it? That the deeper meaning behind it is that the Atma which is there, the pure Atma is like that butter. Okay. And the pot is like the external covering of the material of the Jiva. Okay. So when someone becomes a Shuddha Bhakta, then Krishna is eager to take away that pure soul to his own abode. Okay. So that particular butter here represents the pure Atma who is going back to the spiritual world, which Krishna takes, steals it away. And the pot which breaks is whatever the material existence of that devotee, the body and everything else. That is all left back in the world itself, right? And only the pure Atma is taken to the spiritual world and he is given a spiritual body. So Ramanujacharya gives this as an example of saying what it means to know Krishna in Tattvataha. So when the Bhagavad Gita says Evam Yoveti Tattvataha, you need to understand this. So it's not just that I understood the story. I need to understand the deeper meanings of such stories. If I have understood that, then Krishna is saying that yes, you can come back to me. Okay, so that's like a bonus given. So similarly, he says here when Krishna is saying Itimam Yobijanati Karma Bir Nasa Badhyate, if someone knows that Krishna is not bound by karma, then such a person becomes free from karma. What it means is that it doesn't mean that if you just know this, you will become free from karma. He says, no, you will have to do yoga. वो तो करना पड़ेगा तुमको. Just by, so what it means here is, there will be, when you are trying to do karma yoga, you may get some obstacles. There may be some papa you have, or some of our own sinful reactions, or something may act as an obstacle in our performance of karma yoga. So all that will be, all those blockages in our own path of yoga will be cleaned off if you understand the fact that Krishna is not bound by karma. Okay, so there is a benediction. So in this way, there are verses in Gita that give a special offer that if you know this, then you will get this. Okay, so that, all right, so Krishna has given these benedictions here that if you understand this. Anyway, so this is the 14th verse. And then in the 15th verse, Krishna is saying that this is not, I'm not just saying just like that. Many people in the past have also become free. Okay, so for that, Krishna is saying, Evam Nyatva Kritam Karma Purvairapi Mumukshubhihi. There were many people in the past, Purve, they have understood my nature, that how I am not bound by karma. Kuru Karma Eva Tasmatvam Purve Purva Taram Kritam. Right, so such people also previously also many people have been there. They have been cleansed of all sins, and they have, and you can also do the same. So basically, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna that you need to understand about my own position. Okay, so these are the first 4 verses from 12 to 15, where first we saw in the verse number 12, Krishna is saying who is not eligible for karma yoga, by saying that those who are greedy for fruits in the short term, they are not. And then Krishna says that understand Varnashram, understand that I am the creator of it, but I am free from it. Understand that I am not desiring any fruit. Okay, and hence, if you just know this, you will not be bound. And in the past also, many people have become free. Okay, so all this is now done. Right. Now, coming to the 16th verse. Now Krishna is going to glorify in the next couple of verses. Now, slowly we are going into the aspect which I said. How to see karma yoga only as jnana yoga. So that is where we are coming. So now in the 16th verse, Krishna says, Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo pyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajnatva mokshase shubhat. Okay, Krishna is saying, Kim karma kim akarmeti. Okay, so what is action? And Prabhupada translates that akarma as inaction. So as I said here, what Ramanujacharya does is he says akarma means opposite to karma. And what is opposite to karma in the context of this whole discussion of 3rd, 4th, 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? It is jnana yoga, because that is what was the whole thing. Inaction means jnana yoga, right? Because in jnana yoga only you don't do any action with your senses. You are only sitting and meditating or doing some dhyan, this, that, right? So that is jnana yoga. So he says what is karma yoga and what is jnana yoga is very difficult to understand. Kavayo pyatra mohita. Now, kavi means what? Kavi doesn't necessarily mean a poet. So that's one way of understanding kavi. But a kavi is defined as a krantadarshi. That means one who is knowledgeable and who has a long-term perspective and who knows what is to be done, what is not to be done. Such a person is technically called as a kavi. So Krishna is saying that what is karma yoga, what is jnana yoga is very difficult to understand. So why is Krishna saying like this, that karma yoga and jnana yoga is very difficult to understand? Krishna is saying this to prove that it is difficult, but if you hear from me, then you can understand nicely. Okay, so the purpose of saying that this is very difficult to understand is not to mean that it cannot be understood at all. So what it means is, normally it is difficult to understand. Why it is like that? Because different people will say different things. Somebody says karma has always to be given up. Others will say karma must always be done, and so on. Right? So Krishna is basically saying that if you, so normally these are very difficult to understand. What is karma yoga? What is jnana yoga? So Krishna is actually appreciating, acknowledging the fact that Arjuna's question in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which he asked, it's relevant, right? So because Arjuna was also confused. Why should I fight if ultimately jnana only is the goal? So Krishna wants to say that actually, yes, it is very difficult to understand what is karma, what is jnana, inaction is jnana, what is this jnana, etc. Even very intelligent people cannot understand, but you hear from me properly, don't worry, you will be able to understand. Tatya karma pravakshami yajnatva mokshashe shubhat. And if you understand this, then you can actually get out of the world. That's what Krishna is saying. Okay, so you can actually get moksha. Now again, it doesn't mean here that simply if you understand you get moksha. The understanding here is that if you understand, you will practice also. Okay, so Ramanujacharya here he says that anushtat is a part of this verse. One is that it is just like he says, somebody asks, what is the way to go to Srirangam? Then another person explains to him how to go to Srirangam or Tirupati or Vrindavan and have darshan of the Lord. So the point is if somebody is taking all the details of how to go to Srirangam or Tirupati or somewhere, then actually he's going to go there, right? Otherwise, why will he take all these details? So similarly, the point here is, it is not that just by understanding Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, what it is, you will get you will go towards moksha. The understanding is, if you understand, you will practice also. And when you practice, you will automatically go. Okay, so that's the point here. That is the 16th verse. Okay. Now the 17th verse. Karmano happy bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Okay, so here he translates, I made this point already, that karma means karma yoga. Vikarma, now this is the beauty of Sanskrit language, as I said. So one way we all know vikarma is forbidden action, but here Ramanujacharya translates vikarma as vividha karma. So vividha karma is also vikarma only, na? Karma, if you put that prefix V to karma, one way to look at it is forbidden action. Another way to look at it, different types of karma yoga. वो भी हो जाता है उसका meaning. Because so Ramanujacharya says, because that is what is being explained in the later part of the 4th chapter. Krishna is talking about vikarma as vividha karma, different types of karma yoga, which we will see very soon. What are these types of karma yoga? We are going to see that next time, not today. Akarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam. Akarmana means what is not karma and which is the jnana. Okay, so inaction is, he always uses inaction and jnana yoga only, because that's what inaction means, jnana yoga. That's what you're going to do. So he says, karma yoga, different types of karma yoga and jnana yoga. All these things are gahana. Gahana means that very, very deep subject matter. Gahana, he translates this as depth. Gahana. Like the Hindi word is also there, na, gehra. So something very deep. So the Sanskrit word gehana, gahana has a very similar meaning here. Gahana means very, very deep. That means these topics are very deep. So please hear attentively, Krishna is saying, because Krishna is now going into that. Okay, so till now, this is the prelude. From 4.12 to 4.17, he has just set the scene. So it is like before you place the diamond, I said, right, the jeweler will take out a very costly, plate or something, and on that only keep the diamond. So similarly, Krishna has set the background now to understand. Now from the 18th verse onwards, Krishna is going to teach us how to see Karma Yoga only as Jnana Yoga. Okay, how to see Karma Yoga only as Jnana Yoga. So how does he begin that? With verse number 18. Look at verse number 18. Karmanya karma yah pashyed akarmani cha karma yah sa buddhiman manusyeshu sayukta kritsna karma krit. Right? So Krishna is saying here, karmanya karma yah pashyed. One who sees Karma Yoga as Jnana Yoga, that means one who sees action and inaction, we know the translation, but here he is saying that one who sees Karma Yoga only as Jnana Yoga, and one who sees Jnana Yoga in Karma Yoga, such a person, that means one who sees both ways, Sabuddhiman Manusheshu, he is very intelligent, Sayukta Krishna Karma. So let's go into it. Okay, so the point is the understanding. So what is the, So let's understand one thing here. Krishna is not talking about Jnana Yoga. Krishna is not recommending the pure Jnana Yoga to be done. Rather, what Krishna is doing is encouraging Arjuna to incorporate Jnana only in the karma also. Correct? That's what we are going to see now. So like an example is given here. Just like, let's say somebody is doing Varnashram Dharma. Okay. So that is Karma Yoga. He's doing Karmani. So while doing that Karma Varnashram, he is supposed to see the Jnana behind it. What is the Jnana? That actually I'm an Atma. As an Atma, I'm in the material world. In the material world, I have something called as Karma. Right? I have my past actions. I'm under the influence of three modes of nature. I'm eternal, but I'm caught under the three modes. And I have a particular combination of modes right now. Maybe I have a combination of so much Sattva Gun, so much Tamo Gun, or whatever I have. Hence, I have a nature of a Vaishya. Let's take an example. And because I have that nature of a Vaishya, I must do the activity of a Vaishya. This is the Jnana, correct? This is the Jnana. So karmani akarmaya pashyed means while doing that karma yoga, one should be aware of this jnana, that I am in such a situation in this material world. Okay, and hence I have to do this. So this is karmani akarma yapashyed. Akarmani cha karmaya. So on the other hand, jnana also should be seen as karma. So because jnana doesn't have its own standing, that means I have studied all the jnana. So let's say, I'm not doing any karma, but I've studied the book. I know the jnana. Oh, there are three modes of nature. I know that the Atma gets conditioned in the material world. I know that moksha is the goal. I know that I'm supposed to worship Krishna. All this jnana I know. Okay. But that jnana should be embedded in the right varnashram. Na? That means the jnana doesn't stand alone. That's what Krishna is meaning here by saying akarmani cha karmaya. मतलब तुम्हारे पास ज्ञान है, लेकिन simply the jnana is not going to, just by getting that jnana, nothing is going to happen to you because you are under the three modes of nature. You can't give up action. So that is why that jnana you will have to now see it in the karma. That means you have knowledge of all these concepts, but you will have to implement all this in the karma. Okay, so that's the point here. That means in karma yoga, one should see jnana, and in the jnana one should see that I have to do the karma. See, because at the end of the day, after hearing Bhagavad Gita is a call for action, right? It's not, the purpose of Gita is not just to make one a philosopher. It is to get someone into the right kind of action in this world. Okay, so it's not just to keep discussing philosophy like that. That jnana has to translate as karma. Like Krishna is giving all this knowledge to Arjuna. At the end, Krishna wants Arjuna to use this knowledge, raise his bow and arrow and fight against the Kauravas, right? Krishna doesn't want that Arjuna sits and say, oh, such a wonderful knowledge I got. Thank you, Krishna. No, in that karma, in that particular knowledge that you have got, you have to see the karma, that you have to do karma yoga in that. Okay, so that's how he explains here. Such people are buddhiman. Sa buddhiman manusheshu. Okay, they're buddhiman. Okay, so why they're buddhiman? That means without the Atma, jnana has no use, and without implementation of varnashram, there is no use. So you need both. You need varnashram for the action, and you need the jnana behind varnashram. दोनों चाहिए आपको. सिर्फ एक से काम नहीं चलेगा. Somebody will say that I know varnashram duties. Okay, good. You know karma you're doing, but I don't know the jnana behind why that varnashram is there. So only when you know that, you will be able to confidently implement. Like in today's world, we see so many people have so much confusion about varnashram, right? That is because the jnana only is not there behind. So both are there. And such people get the benefit of both. They get the benefit of both the jnana and karma. So this is how Krishna begins this discussion, right? This is how Krishna begins this discussion. Right, 4.18. Now he's discussing, he's going more deep into it. Another 4-5 verses are there. We will complete this section today. So in all these 4-5 verses that we're going to discuss now, Krishna is again going deep into this subject. How to see karma yoga only as jnana yoga. Okay, so let's see one by one. 5 different characteristics he's giving. One by one, let's see these 5 verses, 19 to 24. First is saying, Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varchitaha jnanagdi dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddhaha. So Krishna is saying, such a person who is aspiring for mumukti, mumukshu means somebody who wants to transcend everything. Kama sankalpa sankalpa varjitaha. Varjitaha means he should give up. Varjita matlab usko kya karna padega. Yasya sarve samarambha. Samarambha means every action. Yasya sarve samarambha. That means you are doing karma. Okay, you are doing karma yoga. Agreed. But while doing karma yoga, you have to give up two things. What is to be given up? Kama and sankalpa. So kama sankalpa ka matlab kya hai bhai? Kama means attachment to fruit. Simple, right? Kama means attachment to fruit. That means while doing action, give up that attachment to fruit. First thing. Sankalpa. Sankalpa matlab kya? General meaning of sankalpa in Sanskrit is determination. That is sankalpa. हम बोलते हैं ना, मैंने संकल्प लिया इस चीज का. But that's not the sankalpa here. Here is translating sankalpa in another way. Sam means together and kalpa means to think. Kalpa, kalpana, sochna. Sam means together. That means to think the body and soul are same. That means the Atma and Sharira are one. That means to not understand the difference between body and soul. That is what he's calling here as sankalpa. You understood, right? How he split the word. Sam means together and kalpa means to think. That means to think that the body and soul are one. That means to not understand the difference between Sharira and Atma. Okay, this has to be given up. Because Varjitaha, na, Krishna is saying. Varjitaha means aapko chodna padega. That means you'll have to give up the bodily concept of life. In short. Okay, so that means while doing action in this world, you have to give up the attachment to fruit. And also you have to give up the bodily concept of life. When you do that, then you become Pandita. Tamahu Panditam Buddhaha. You become a Pandita. Why he become Pandita? Because he knows the difference between body and Atma and also is detached from the fruit. And what happens to such a person? Jnanagdi Dagda Karmana. Jnanagdi Dagda Karmana means by such jnana, you know, the reactions are all getting burnt up. Okay. So many reactions are getting burnt up. So this is how Karma Yoga becomes jnana. That means Karma Yoga only transforms as Jnana Yoga. So Krishna is not saying you give up Karma Yoga. Again, remember, यस्से सर्वे समारंभ. आपको सब काम करना पड़ेगा समारंभः, लेकिन उसमें ये दो चीज छोड़ना पड़ेगा, right? And then when you have this jnana while doing your karma, then what will happen? All the negative reactions due to which you are stuck in this material world start burning away because you are in the right consciousness. You are in the right consciousness. See, so important in the Gita, na, it's about developing the right consciousness while doing everything. Okay, so that's what this whole thing is about. And we have to see how to slowly bring these things in our daily life or in our, these things have to become a part of one's life, one's being. So that's another, again, very important goal of the Bhagavad Gita. It's like we are hearing this philosophy, but we'll have to bring this philosophy into action in our life. We will have to do that. Only then, we will reap these particular fruits. Okay, now Krishna gives more characteristics, how Karma Yoga can become Jnana Yoga. Tyaktva karma phalasangam nitya tripto nirashrayah karmanya pravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saha. This is 4.20. So first Krishna is saying Tyaktva karma phalasangam. See, again and again, how much time Krishna is hammering on this point that, give up Falatyaga. That means, Nishkama Karma Yoga jo bolte hain na, hum kitni baar Gita mein aate hai, if you look at the verses. Here again, Krishna is saying that only. Tyaktva karma phalasangam. Phalasangam means this attachment to the lower fruits of enjoyment in this world. Just give it up. Don't do action for that. Nitya tripto. Nitya tripto means what? Does it mean always satisfied? Yeah, the reason is not given here, but the point is, Nitya here he translates it as Atma. That means Nitya Tripto means be satisfied at the level of Atma. Okay, so that means don't be satisfied in temporary fruits, but try to be situated in the position of the Nitya Atma and try to be happy in your nature as the self. Okay, as the spirit soul. In that, try to be happy. Nirashraya means what? Don't rely so much on materialistic things in this world. That's what he translates it as. That means don't look at materialistic things for support in this world. You're doing karma, everything is fine, but still be free from that. See, this is the jnana which is there while doing karma, correct? Krishna is expecting us to come to that you're doing all this, but still don't depend so much on this. You may be a businessman, you may be doing everything to the best of your ability. But still, nirashraya. Don't look at these things as support in this world. That jnana must be there. That I'm not supposed to look at things as support. All these things are temporary. Anytime it could go away. This jnana must be there. Karmane vi pravrittopi. With one's mind doing karma. So this is again very interesting. Krishna is basically saying here that one, see, because karma is not just by the body, it is with the mind also. Okay. Naiva kinchit karotiya. Such a person is not doing any karma, Krishna is saying. Very interesting. Krishna ends 4.20 by saying Naiva kinchit karoti saha. He is not doing anything. Somebody may say he's not doing anything means what? He's not doing anything means he's doing jnana. Okay, that means, so again, let's remember, it doesn't literally mean that he's not doing anything. He's doing everything. But because he has such a superlative understanding he has in the world, he is getting the benefit of Jnana Yoga also while doing Karma Yoga. So this is what the 4th chapter is about. I hope everybody is understanding it, right? So Krishna is now encouraging us to do Karma Yoga only with superior understanding, where you get benefit of Jnana Yoga also. Because at this point, somebody may say, why do Karma Yoga only? Just give up, give up the work. It is so easy. It's so difficult to do the work also, still be detached, not look at those things as support, be happy in the self, and still you have to do everything in the world also. It's so difficult. Okay. So why is Krishna so much on this particular point? So the answer is very simple. Krishna is very much concerned that for most living entities in the world, if they give up work, they will engage their senses wrongly and they will invite sin. Okay, that is why, if you remember, the 3rd chapter we had discussed in great detail about Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, right? In the last part of the 3rd chapter. That when you don't do Karma Yoga properly, when you are not engaged in your body and mind properly, your mind gets distracted and you will end up in lust and everything. Okay, that is Krishna's concern. So Krishna is never saying don't do anything, but Krishna is evolving the quality of work by evolving the quality of the thought process. Okay. Last 4 verses of our discussion today. Nirashir yata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnoti kilbisham. So continuation of the same theme, right? So nirashir yata chittatma. Okay, so Krishna is repeating so much, right, that this particular thing, Karma Yoga, is so important. Why is doing that? Because one has to get out of this mess. Shariram kevalam karma. By saying that kevalam karma here, kevalam, the word means only. That means only means you don't have to do separate Jnana Yoga or something, but you have to do it shariram. Because the karma is related to the body. So you will have to do it. And 3 characteristics of Karma Yoga are mentioned here. First is nirashi, without desire of material fruits. Once again, it has come. The same point. Don't desire fruits. Yata chittatma. Yata chittatma means, chitta means mind. Okay, so when the mind decides to do something, it is buddhi. When the mind decides to show its garva or pride, it is called ahankar. But otherwise, chitta means mind. Okay, so to conquer the mind is being referred to here. Okay, that means one has to keep one's mind also under check. So this is again connected to the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, where the whole discussion of kama was there. All right, so nirashi, one should not desire actions and at the same time keep one's mind under control. So this is all part of Jnana Yoga. But Krishna is saying you'll have to do that along with doing Karma Yoga. Parigraha. Tyakta sarva parigraha means parigraha. Parigraha means give up the idea that it is mine. That means this mamata bhav you have to give up. Ye mera hai, ye chodna padega tumko. Okay. And when you do that, when you do like this, then all the jnana, the benefits of Jnana Yoga are automatically given to the Karma Yogi also. Because you are doing Karma Yoga along with the jnana. Okay. So again, the problem here is when we hear all this, somebody may say, "Arey, this is so difficult. You have to work, earn money, and then like Arjuna had his own issue, right? That one has to kill all relatives, this and that. So much misery comes. So that is why Krishna is speaking 4.22. And again here, see, Krishna is again emphasizing on tolerating the duality. So if you remember in 2nd chapter 14th verse, Krishna had said to tolerate duality. Here again, Krishna is bringing the same point. Yadricha labha santushto. Yadrichaya labha santushto means labha santushto, whatever you get. Dvandva tito vimatsara. Dvandva means duality, right? Samasiddhau asiddhau cha. Be equal. Samasiddhau siddhau cha kritvapi na nibadhyate. Only when you do that, then you will not get bound in this world. Okay, so once again, Krishna is emphasizing on tolerating duality, that don't go out of your way to get happiness or distress. Whatever comes in your own accord, be satisfied with that. Yadrichya means, Ramanujacharya says, be like a python. Python, why python? Because python doesn't think this is deer, this is dog, I like deer more, I don't like dog. No, whatever comes, it eats and it is happy with that. If you see the nature of a python, right, it is just sitting in one place. Whatever comes, it will eat it. It doesn't think, it doesn't discriminate. Yesterday means 2 weeks back, I got deer. Today I'm getting a dog to eat. The deer was most tasty. No, nothing. Jo mila theek hai, usme hi chal raha hai. So he says that is the explanation he gives for the word yadrichaya. That don't jump behind specific things. Be happy with whatever you get. Vimatsaraha means don't get too angry while doing karma yoga. Vimatsaraha, don't get too angry. Why Krishna is saying that? Because when you are doing karma yoga, somebody will stop you. When you are doing a regular duty, somebody may instigate you, and there will be a temptation to become angry at that person. Just give that up. Krishna is saying. Think that this is so. Ramanujacharya says one should think that it is one's own karma that somebody is coming and chastising us. So there is a beautiful story said here. Once there was Parashara Bhatta, was a disciple of Ramanuja. He was giving a class, and after he gave the class, someone came and blasted him left, right, and center, saying that you're a nonsense, this, that. So this Bhattar, he got down and he felicitated that person. He said, thank you very much, and he gave him some gifts. His disciples and others were very confused. Why is our Guru doing this? So Parashara Bhatta, he replied that every devotee has two duties. One is to think about the glories of the Lord and our own faults. We should think about these two things. We should think always about the glories of the Lord and our faults. I have been thinking of the glories of the Lord, but I have not been thinking about my faults. This friend of mine has come and is telling so many of my faults. So I'm very, very thankful to him. So we should do his satkar and give him some gift. Okay, so this is one explanation given to Vimatsaraha. That means don't become angry. If somebody irritates you, take it positively. Take it that good. My papa is getting over. Right? Bhogena punyam kushalena papam, as Lord Narasimha told Prahlad Maharaj. Sama siddhava siddhava. Look at victory, accomplishment, non-accomplishment, same. When you do that, then na nibadhyate. So these are all the jnana behind karma yoga, correct? Just two more verses and the section is over. Gata sangasya muktasya jnana vastita chetasaha yajnaya charatak karma samagram praviliyate. So here Krishna is saying Gata sangasya means to give up attachment. Okay. So there may appear to be a punarukti, that means a repetition, but Krishna is making the point that by doing karma yoga, one's sins will go away and one's attachment will reduce, and thus objects will leave him. He need not leave the objects. Just like the sense objects are there, right? So the idea is that if you stick to karma yoga properly, what is expected in that karma yoga, whatever we read, then the objects of senses only will leave us. Gata sangasya muktasya. Okay, you don't have to work so much about thinking how to give up the sense objects. Oh, chhut jayega tumse. Okay, his karmas are destroyed. Jnana vastiti chetasa yajnaya charatak karma samagram praviliyate. His karmas are destroyed. Not necessarily all. Okay, so whenever we read this, karma is destroyed, etc., it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is destroyed. But what it means is a large amount is destroyed. See, because Ramanacharya and Yamunacharya also makes the point always that Karma Yoga, remember, doesn't give you mukti directly. What it will give you is, it will cleanse your Rajoguna, Tamoguna. It will bring you on the level of Atma Sakshatkar. That means at the point of self-realization. One will have to practice bhakti to go back to the spiritual world. By doing Karma Yoga, you don't go back to the spiritual world. But what happens is, Rajoguna reduces, and because Rajoguna reduces, you come up in your consciousness, you become situated on the platform of Atma Sakshatkar. Once that happens, then there is bhakti. Obviously there are more chapters in Bhagavad Gita, right? Okay, so bhakti will come, And once that bhakti is done, then only one goes back to the spiritual world per se. Otherwise, you don't go. So that part again is very, very clear. The last verse, this is again beautiful. Krishna is the last verse of our today's discussion. Krishna is again discussing how karma yoga is to be seen as jnana yoga. Brahmarpanam brahma haver brahmagno brahmana hutam brahmevatena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. What Krishna is saying here is the karma, the objects of karma, the result, the doer, the deity for which you are doing your karma, everything is Brahman. Thus, the performance of karma has the understanding of jnana as an integral part of it. You understood this? This verse means, what it means is, when I am doing my karma yoga, what I am doing, myself, my body, my action, the result of that action, to whom I am offering this result, all this is Brahman only. Correct? This understanding must be there when we are in this world. Okay, you may be doing a business. You, yourself, with the three modes of nature, your business, the fruits of the business, whom you are offering the fruit, everything is Brahman only, right? Everything is Brahman only. This understanding must be there in the karma yoga. That's what Krishna is saying. If that understanding is there, the karma yoga becomes equal to jnana yoga. Okay, so that is the point being said here. One who has this knowledge that everything I am doing is Brahman, attains Brahman. Okay, he attains that Brahman, that self-realization. Here again, Brahman means self-realization. It doesn't literally mean that you attain Parabrahman. In this context, it means self-realization. Thus, so Krishna's whole point in these 12 verses that we discussed today is, my dear Arjuna, you don't have to do any separate jnana yoga. Alag se tumko jnana yoga nahi karna hai. In this karma yoga only, if you do it with all this understanding, you get all the benefits of jnana yoga. You're getting everything here, right? So this is how Krishna is continuing the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita here. And now from the 25th verse onwards, which we will see next time, Krishna talks about the third part of the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, different types of karma yoga. So all that we will see next time. Okay, so a quick 1-minute revision. We started with this particular verse of Yamunacharya, Prasangatsa Swabhavukti Karmano Akarmatasya cha Veda Jnanasya Mahatmam Chaturtha Dhyaya Uchyate. That in the fourth chapter there are 4 themes. And the second theme we were discussing today, how to see karma yoga only as jnana yoga. So this is the fourth theme. Then we saw from verse number 12 to 24. So I'm not going to read the verses, but just summarizing. In the 12th verse, Krishna said, who cannot do karma yoga? Jo fruit ke piche bhagta hai, he cannot do karma yoga. Then who can do karma yoga? Who has to be situated in Varnashram? And why this Varnashram is important? Because I have designed it. Though I have designed it, Krishna is saying in 14 that I am not responsible for it. And if you understand that, you become free from bondage. And then Krishna is saying many people in the past have become freed from bondage by understanding my position. It is so important to understand Krishna's position, right? And then Krishna goes on from 16th verse saying, what is karma? So here I said, karma means karma yoga. Akarma is translated as jnana yoga, and vikarma is translated as different types of karma yoga. So that's how Ramanujacharya translates it. So if you remember, I always say this point that like Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami that every verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam can be understood in so many ways. Okay, so the only thing, the consistency must be there. So here again we see, okay, there is a consistency in this particular thought process. So it's not to cancel another meaning that we already know, but it is just to add to that, correct? So what is karma yoga? What is jnana yoga? Krishna is saying very difficult even for big people to understand. That doesn't mean you cannot understand it. What Krishna wants to say, if you hear from me, you can understand everything properly. Then in the 17th verse, he is saying, this karma yoga, different types of karma yoga and jnana yoga. These are all very deep subject matters. And one has to see karma yoga in jnana yoga, jnana and jnana in karma yoga. Okay. In karma yoga, one has to see jnana. So how is that? When you are doing varnashram, for example, you have to see, while doing varnashram, you have to see, oh, I have this body, I have these modes, this, that, hence I am engaged. And somebody may say, okay, I have the knowledge. You have the knowledge, very good. But then you have to use that knowledge and get engaged as per Varnashram. So this is what it means by saying action and inaction, inaction and action. And then Krishna says some more characteristic. First thing is Kama Sankalpa Varjita. Don't get attached to the fruit. Don't get out of bodily consciousness, right? You have to do this. Then Tektva Karma Phalasanga. You have to, become free from that attachment to the fruit. You have to be satisfied in the self. Don't depend so much on materialistic things. Abhivrittopi, mentally also you have to be engaged. A very important point, please remember. Engagement is not just to the body, it is to the mind as well. If you see Ajamil's fall down, it was because of lack of mental engagement. That fellow came home and he was still thinking about the prostitute. That's why he had problem. Neva kinchit karoti. Such a person is not doing anything. It doesn't mean literally one is not doing. No, he will do. But he has the consciousness of jnana. Nirashir yate chittatma, right? He's not aspiring. Jakta sarva parigraha. So sharira, you're doing it because as long as the body is there, one has to do. And then you are freed from all that dirt, kilbisham. Yadricha lapa santushto, 22nd verse, right? Whatever you get, be satisfied in that. Like the python you saw. Dvandvatito, be free from the dualities. Right? And then Krishna is saying, then if you actually act like this, Gata Sangasya, the objects will leave you. And in this way, you will come up. And then finally, Krishna is saying, you, the person, what you are doing, your action, sorry, the results of your action, whom you are offering, all this is part of Brahman only. And one has to do everything in this world with this understanding. So all this comprises the jnana which is necessary while doing karma. Right? So we'll stop here and take questions if any. Yeah. So whoever hand is up can go first, I think. Yeah, Damodarasham bro, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This point of being satisfied in whatever we're getting, like how do we see if some injustice happens to us? Because when we start fighting, all the things come up like Rajo Guna and all.
Yeah, see, that's the point. When the injustice comes also, we have to fight. But even in that fighting, there has to be a Nishkama Bhavana. Just like the Pandavas were also fighting against the injustice of Duryodhana, right? All their life. It's not that injustice didn't happen to them. They were fighting against injustice only. But the point is, even in that fight against injustice, one cannot forget the principle of Karma Yoga. The principle of Karma Yoga will apply even in that fight against injustice. Correct. Haribol? Yeah, like somebody to an Indra fighting. Someone is, yeah. Is that okay, Damodarasham bro?
Yes, Prabhuji, but then like when we see injustice, we are talking about, like we are thinking about that I am not getting something. That's why I feel that it is injustice. And we say that we should not be attached.
Yeah, see, so again, there is a distinction between an external action and an internal action. Externally, we understand that I am being cheated by my office or whatever, so I have to fight a court case. But internally, even while doing that, the principles of Karma Yoga cannot be given up. Are you getting this point? It's a little subtle here. See, there is a difference between an external action and an internal mood which you maintain. Externally, I know this person has cheated me, so I'll drag him to the court. But even while doing that, I have to be fully conscious of all the principles of Karma Yoga because they are true, right? Because there is no guarantee of victory. Even if you fight in the court, where is the guarantee that you will succeed at the end? Are you getting my point?
Okay, yeah.
I may fail, right? So I have to, that means all the principles of Karma Yoga are to be maintained by me even in my fight in the court. I can't forget that. Means I can't say that अभी नहीं ये बहुत important fight है court में, so principle of Karma Yoga will not apply. No, it will apply even there. Are you getting the point?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the fruits which I get, I will be utilizing it for, it's the right causes. Like in case of
that is there only, na?
Yeah. Okay.
Very carefully used.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, Saragrai, bro, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I mean, like as you mentioned that I mean, like Karma Yoga, if we do along with the Jnana, then I mean, like it is like if we do that, I mean, like that would be like it will also like as you mentioned in the morning that it will reduce like it will help in reducing the Rajoguna, in the sense that I mean, like it will please the Lord, because we are doing our karma properly, and that will please the Lord, and that will reduce the Rajoguna, and that will also help in overcoming the karma. Right. So I mean, in this whole thing, I mean, like if we do that, I mean, will that be I mean, helpful in I mean, as a foundation for the bhakti? Because I mean, like I see that, I mean, like all these things, if we do it very properly, then that will act as a very good foundation. And above that, if we do anything as a bhakti yoga, then that will have a long lasting and sustainable thing.
Yeah, see, that part is clear, and as we go ahead, you will understand that better. Currently, we have not yet come to the Bhakti chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As we go ahead and discuss, chapters 7 to 12, you will see very clearly that Krishna is building concept by concept. Just like now, when we are talking about the 4th chapter, we are not talking about jnana independent of karma, right? If you see the whole discussion, we added jnana to karma yoga. We didn't cancel karma yoga and say that abhinayana is important. No. We have added an understanding. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is going to add bhakti and sharanagati as we go ahead on top of this. It is not by cancelling this, Krishna is establishing that. Are you getting the point?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, I mean, if we have a solid, I'm like, because all the problems which we face while doing the bhakti can be, I mean, like minimized, or can be taken care if we follow this principle very properly.
In fact, most of the problems are all related to the body only, right? We are facing because of wrong type of action or wrong type of understanding. If you see, most of the time counseling, right? Devotees counsel each other or whatever. So what is the main thing? Rarely people are asking or talking about deep spiritual subjects. Most of the time it's about the body, it's about relationships, it's about, right understanding and all that, right? So we are stuck there only.
Yes.
We are stuck in the way we do our action. Our action mein problem hai, wahin par hum atke hai. Correct? And that causes trouble to us, and that's what we keep needing guidance about. Correct? No?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Haribol. Yeah, Rajendra. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, two questions. First is, in Karma Yoga, we are taught that, we should do karma and the results, we should offer it to Krishna. Where does this stand with the whole explanation you gave? And second is the Brahmarpana verse. I didn't understand fully. Can you?
Yeah. So first thing is, so 3.9, we had discussed 3rd chapter, na? One of the centers, if you remember 3rd chapter, Yamunacharya's summary also, it was that only, right? Asakta lokaraksha hai guneshwaropi kartetam sarveshwareshwa nasyukta tritiye karma karyata. Where he's saying that the 3rd chapter is talking about doing karma yoga sarveshware. That means everything for Ishvara. Like 3.9 Bhagavad Gita is there, na? Yajnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Do everything as a sacrifice to the absolute. So that is certainly there. I mean, that's core part of Bhagavad Gita. That part can never be cancelled. So the whole understanding that I do my actions as an offering to the Lord. The results, the action itself, why I am doing it is to please the Lord. Why am I a parent? Why am I taking care of my child? I am doing that in the mood of pleasing the Lord. My purpose of taking care of my children is to please the Lord through that, right? So it is karma yoga, taking care of your children. But the deeper thing behind it is you want to offer your children as, as an offering itself to the Lord, right? As in so that's an example that I'm taking. So like that, in any aspect of karma yoga that we do, it is to be done as an offering to Vishnu. So that part we have already touched on. So that part is always there. And the last verse that we discussed, 4.24, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havi, In that again is talking about this only. And in that, this higher principle of jnana is coming. What is the jnana? That everything in this world, me, my action, the result of my action, the person whom I'm offering my action, all this is Brahman only. Are you getting it? All this is Brahma. Correct? The body is part of Brahma. Right? The Varnashram duties are part of Brahma. The fruit of that Varnashram is Brahma. You get a child in your family. That child is also part of that Brahma only. You get wealth. That is also part of Brahma only, right? Everything is coming from Brahma, na? Sarvam kalvam idam Brahma. So because everything is coming from Brahma, that Brahma is being offered to Brahma, which is Parabrahma in this context. So this is the jnana one should have. This is the knowledge Krishna is expecting us to have while doing Karma Yoga. That so I have nothing. So what is the understanding? What is the purport of this statement? The purport of the statement is very simple. That I'm nothing. I'm not the doer at all. I'm simply a part of this whole cosmos, which is the Lord's Srishti and everything. And the energies I have, that is also part of the Brahma Shakti only, correct? Somebody has a particular talent, somebody sings well, somebody dances, somebody cooks nicely. All that is part of that Brahman only. So whatever talent I have, I use that, do something and offer it to that Parabrahman. So this is the consciousness Krishna is expecting us to have while doing Karma Yoga. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. I think the same way, offering Ganga the water, Ganga's own water, right? So same consciousness. Yeah. So that does tells that we are not the possessor in this world.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Haribo. Someone else. Who is the Saurabh? Is it Smita Nimai or someone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is Deepthi.
Yeah, Haribo. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Prabhuji, I have two questions. Like, one, you said that even if you do a court case, but inside you should be like, you should not expect the fruits. But how, no matter what you do, the disappointments are always there when you don't get the things the way you want. So
Yeah.
one is how to overcome that, and second is like for children also, like we are raising them and sometimes they get good marks, sometimes they do not get good marks. So that is again a disappointment, but how to teach children also that it's okay sometimes to fail, or it doesn't. Yeah.
Expecting us not to be disappointed. Disappointment will be there. When Arjuna lost his son Abhimanyu in the war, wasn't he crying? He was. But the difference is, but the point is Arjuna continued to fight. Na? That means even if there is a disappointment in something, I don't give up. That's the key. That's the key here. Like Dronacharya, if you contrast Dronacharya and Arjuna, that is the difference between them, right? Dronacharya's position was he will fight as long as his son is alive. एक बार न्यूज मिल गया कि उसका सन का डेथ हो गया, सब कुछ छोड़ के बैठ गया. He said, I'm not going to do anything. But Arjuna was not like that. Arjuna cried when his son died. It's not that he was, saying that, oh, it doesn't make a difference. It's all Brahman. No, it's not like that. There is a human emotion. So there is a feeling of disappointment. There is sadness when something goes against you. But the principle of Karma Yoga is that you are able to handle that duality. What do you mean by handling that duality? You continue in life. You fight some. That's why, suicide and giving up, like people drink when they are disappointed. So all that is indication of unable to handle that. So the whole thing here is, can we handle it? Disappointment is going to happen. That is fine. We are not unreasonable or impractical saying that you should not even feel bad about it. No, to lagega, thoda bura lagega. Even Jad Bharat felt bad when Rahuguna, called him ill names. In the Bhagavatam it comes. He felt bad. He was affected. I mean, he was a pure devotee, but that doesn't mean that he was like, okay, you call me stupid, you call me anything, kuch farak nahi padta. He was not like a stone, even though we call him Jad Bharat. He felt bad. He felt insulted when Rahuguna treated him. But that didn't affect him so much. As in, you understood the point, right? So,
Yes,
so that's what is the point. So that's what we have to teach our children. Yes, we may fail in our exam. Okay, thoda ek do din we may feel little bad about it. But then we have to go ahead in life. We have to keep fighting, right? We can't give up. Yes. I mean, it's an act of cowardice. So that can't be done. So that is why I was saying, You will fight the case in the court when the builder cheats us and whatever. But then, but then it's not in our hand also, na? Even practically, if you see, where is it in our hand that if you go to the court against the builder, giving an example, who cheats us of some property, where is the proof, or where is the guarantee that we are going to get the money from the court? We may not. So does that mean what? I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to continue with life. That's okay, fine. Take care. We may feel bad for 1 or 2 days. I lost my money, but then what? We have to keep fighting. Fighting means the power of life itself.
Yes, pretty much clear, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Last question. Dinesh, yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so it's like, most of my teenhood went into the understanding that, the goal of life is to get out of the material world. The definition of moksha was to back to God. But as I'm hearing more and more lectures and reading, I find it more like, I guess devotion has to do more about adding the content and the quality to the devotion through the different processes that Krishna has recommended. So, and also I've understood a little bit here and there that how you give example of Jad Bharat too, like, you do try to achieve the perfection of the human life without losing or having that liberty to carry that some humanness in you still, like at least having a space for you to do your own mistakes if so. So is it like the gravity to go to that back to God thing has prevailed like even in like modern days, or was it how did it go in the past yugas or a couple of thousands of years ago? So
yeah, see, basically moksha, see, first of all, as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is very clear moksha shastra. That is how all acharyas have described. The purpose is moksha, but Krishna is taking step by step. Krishna is taking step by step. So now, first of all, now everybody may not be there where they will actually really aspire for moksha, right? At least they can practice some level of karma yoga and be there. If somebody is more advanced, you can add jnana to it, like we saw today. Somebody is more advanced, we will see ahead, you will add dhyana to it. Someone is even more advanced, you add bhakti to it. So see, ultimately, the path of moksha is a very individual path. It is, I mean, even in an organization where we have an institution for moksha or whatever, but moksha itself is not a group activity. Unlike the Abrahamic people who talk about moksha as a collective thing, that, on the day of judgment, God will awaken everybody and binarily give moksha. So that is not there in Sanatana Dharma. Moksha is an individual walk. You have to individually walk on the path of moksha. Like we see the Pandavas, when they were leaving the world, they were all on their own only. One by one, they were falling down, right? And Yudhishthira was saying that he fell down because of this. They couldn't help each other at that time. The path of moksha, by and large, is individual. Yeah, we can help each other when we are on ground, but when you're flying in the aeroplane in the sky, you're all alone only. So moksha is an individual path, and by definition, very less people aspire for moksha. Right? Krishna has already said in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, Manushyanam Sahasreshu words, correct? So very, very less people aspire for that. Because it's a very difficult path. But the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is, it is not, though it is moksha shastra, though it is taking you to the highest thing, it has given so many steps in the way. So everybody can take some step, at least some step they can take and they can progress. So at least if not this life, next life, they will start walking on that path. So it's like that.
Like at times I hear that, that Bhagavad Gita was spoken to awaken the Swadharma to do the prescribed duties related to this particular life in this world. So what was the purpose of adding the moksha part to it? Was it like to give the broader understanding of a thing, or was there any particular way or
because
something that?
Yeah, see, unless you have added bhakti moksha, the whole discussion doesn't get complete. Na? See, Arjuna's immediate problem was obviously doing Swadharma. If you see, pretty much answer to the first 6 chapters of Gita when Krishna is talking about Karma Yoga. But then when you talk about Karma Yoga so much, and when you talk about the goal of Karma Yoga being Atma Sakshatkar, then you'll have to continue the discussion. You'll have to complete it. Ultimately, the culmination of perfection of all that is in the Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, right? That means to take shelter of Krishna. So unless you have completed that whole thing, there is not satisfaction in a person. And Arjuna, obviously, see, that part Arjuna knew. It is not that Arjuna's main problem was not that he was not a devotee. It was basically that he didn't know what he's supposed to do. But then what he is supposed to do, how it is connected to being a perfect devotee, that Krishna had to say, right? That connection hai na usme. That
Yes.
connection is what Bhagavad Gita is. So that whole thing is connected. It's a cycle. It's a circle. So that circle of life had to be completed. So that is what Krishna does.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Bol. Thank you everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare.